So Erik Ten Hag has started work at Manchester United and he's got one hell of a task on his hands, fixing the problems at Old Trafford. Stephen Howson joins me to go through everything Ten Hag will be doing to sort out Manchester United. Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe, that's Stephen Howson, and today we are going to be looking at the mighty job that Ten Hag has got on his hands at Man United and how exactly he is going to fix the problems at Old Trafford. Would you agree there are some problems that need fixing, first of all?
Yeah.
And do you think that Ten Hag is the man to do it?
I think it's going to be a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
I think in 20, 30 years' time, we'll look back at it and go, fucking hell, Woodward was proper bad, wasn't he? Mm. And I think the CEO has a massive part to play in it. You know, the manager's obviously going to set the culture down for a lot of things, and I'm sure we're going to talk about culture and recruitment and style of play and tactics and all those sorts of things. But they can all be good. But the support network system, things that you're allowed to do, the power that you're given as manager, needs to come from footballing decisions and reasons, and that needs to be set by the board. And from what I've seen so far, the enormous front office changes that's been undertaken under Richard Arnold, Ten Hag may well end up being a success, and he may end up getting the credit for turning Manchester United around. But I think it would be unfair to not discuss the wholesale changes that are going on, and I hope this works. Obviously, I'm a United fan, and honestly, I like to see us win stuff, Joe. I think if we are successful, it will not just be because he was good, and it will be a combination of we got our recruitment right, we did the right things at Carrington, we got back in and being at the forefront of different sort of sports science recoveries and innovation in that sense, and maybe we look after certain things correctly here, there, and everywhere, and we get the processes right of all of these sorts of things. It's so reductionist to just think that this manager is this messianic character that's going to come in and fix problems. You can bring Klopp or Pep Guardiola down here; they're not winning the league with us.
Well, let's go through. We're going to go through, like I said, the tactics. We'll talk about Ten Hag as a man himself, the style of play he has. Let's start there then. Let's start above the manager. And obviously, we don't have the evidence to say, is Arnold a good CEO? Is Murta a good director of football?
He's got a clean slate.
Exactly. That's the one thing they do have, though, which is some level of, go on then. They don't have a bad reputation yet, which is obviously something we can't say about Woodward and Judge, who were basically doing these roles for the last 8 years. Starting with Richard Arnold, have you seen any sort of positives from what we've seen so far? Obviously, there's been coaching changes, there's been scouting changes, there's been, Matt Judge has gone, who's the chief negotiator. I don't know his exact title, but he negotiated contracts and transfers over the last 8 years.
And honestly,
are you positive about
just on the face of things, how much we played, like, would you ever go, fucking hell, United got a bargain there, didn't we? Not in the last 10 years, we didn't.
No.
Literally, we rang Leicester up and was like, how much for Slabhead? And he went, 80 million? And we were like, whoa, taking a piss, you lot. Yeah, go on, we'll pay 80 million. Like, the same with Crystal Palace. Hey, that Wan-Bissaka's had a good season, hasn't he? Season. Yeah, how much you want for him? 50 mil. Oh, we'll give you 20. I'll just call me back in 3 weeks if you want to give me 50. Speak to you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like what I would love to see is United be shrewder. I'd love someone like Paul Mitchell to be involved and someone that unequivocally knows the market, knows the value, has worked at multiple different clubs. So when someone's trying to bend him over a table, he goes, look, mate, he ain't worth that. This is what he's worth, and that's what he's worth. Whereas I don't think Judge and Woodward had the expertise, the know-how, or just the ability to be able to say, I don't think so, on certain transfers. And I think some of the stuff I'd heard about Matt Judge was laughable. He's gone, Woodward's gone. Like I said, at the moment, Arnold and Murta, I'd say it's more than just a clean slate at the moment. Because I think if it was still Woodward and Judge, I think Pochettino's our manager. And that's the vibe I'd have got. And I think the fact that it's not, and it is a guy that's got a lot less of a profile in this country for sure, and you're seeing things that seem to be being football decision-led. You see Marcel Boot and Jim Lawler giving a bullet. there's talks of other people coming in to replace these in these jobs. I think the overhaul, to me, seems like it's going in the right direction. There'll be mistakes. There'll be people appointed that are worse than some people that have left. There'll be people appointed that are better than some people have left. Some transfers will work and some transfers will fail. But it at least feels like, even if they fail now, I'm hoping, because again, we still haven't seen the evidence of this, I'm hoping that they fail on a football reason, or at least they were appointed on a football reason and it failed, rather than they were appointed or bought, or the reasons that we did something was because it was good for interactions on Twitter.
Well, John Murtagh, if nothing else, came from a footballing background. He worked in development for the Premier League and was high up there, and we got him from there. He isn't a banker. He is someone who has a football development background. I know Arnold is a banker and a businessman, but as the CEO, I don't think that's necessarily a problem, as long as he's not then making all the footballing decisions. At least Murtagh's got a football background, something you couldn't say about Judge or Woodward.
One thing I think you can say about Arnold is he's canvassed the expert opinions, and he seems to be going with advice on experts. Whatever Ralph's role is, the fact he's got a role, I think is important, or the fact that he was considered for a role is important. These are people who know more than they're subject matter experts. That all CEOs, no CEO knows everything about everything. No, you need to bring in someone that's had deeper experience in the 7 or 8 different categories, and there might be one person with deep experience in 2 categories, and this one's got 1 in 1, but ultimately they all build the experience for you to then make the decision. And he's a very well paid executive, so you would hope that he's got the balls to make high powered decisions. But like I said, I hope it's football based, and I hope it's for I think we can be successful in spite of the Glazers. I don't think that you're talking unparalleled success, but I think there's a level of success to be attained despite it, because they have allowed us to spend some money. It's not like they've given us nothing. No. That would just be wrong to suggest that.
Top 5 spenders in Europe over the last
decade. We've just spent it like a crackhead on a Friday night. So I think if we can spend it more aligned to a plan and go down the road with a plan, and I think we mentioned this as Ten Hag was appointed. It might not work with Ten Hag, but if the next appointment is in his mould, like a Tuchel or another Rangnick or a Nagelsmann, and you push down the road, you've gone, this is the profile of manager that we want, this is the sort of football we want to see, and then you continually keep appointing managers in that realm, you will eventually find the one that manages to make it work for you. But if you go a mile down the street with Ten Hag, change your mind and decide you want to go with Ancelotti next. It's not going to work like that. You're going to have to persist with something before you start to see the results.
So let's get to the footballing decision these people have made. That is employing Erik Ten Hag on a 3-year deal, optional 4th year, obviously if he does well. Let's talk about who Erik Ten Hag is, because obviously there's all this rumour, this sort of joke, or the meme almost at this point, that he's older than Poch, he's older than Guardiola, he's older than all these managers who have
What's age got to do anything? How old's Ancelotti?
Well, exactly, 60-odd. But he is still a relatively inexperienced manager at this level. His peak, his biggest trophy he's won is a trophy that Steve McLaren has won. But it's not the same thing, is it? He's still someone that's up and coming. A bit on his style of play then, how do you think that fits with this squad? So he's a possession-based manager, more akin to maybe a Pep Guardiola style than a Ralph Rangnick style. He likes to use fullbacks in attack. He likes to have his number 8s dropping into a 3 at the back on occasion, his number 10 dropping deep into a midfield as well. And he likes to make triangles and diamonds around those fullbacks to sort of create overloads to get through deep blocks. I don't think I've seen United successfully or certainly consistently break down a deep block since Ferguson was the manager. Van Gaal couldn't do it, Jose couldn't do it, and he basically avoided it by just making us be playing the deep block. Ole struggled with it a lot, and Rangnick has not been able to do pretty much anything. Do you think his system can work in the Premier League, and can these players play that system?
Absolutely, it can work in the Premier League. I think his system is probably Guardiola based without the entrenched philosophy of it, if that makes sense. Whereas I think he can go direct, and they do go direct. And what you'll see more, so there's traits that you see in Klopp's game and Liverpool's system that you will see United do, and that will be big diagonal switches and stuff, which you generally don't really see City making. They make the smaller 15, 10-yard passes a lot. But you will probably start to see quite big diagonal switches to the opposite fullback, to the opposite wing, trying to open them teams up. You're right, he is someone that's done all right dealing with low blocks, and the fact that he's come from a league where they are the big dog means that it's something he's come up against at least.
Definitely.
And not been someone mid-table like like a Moyes who's like, oh shit, no one's ever done this to me before. What do we do? I think Louis could have done it in his final season. Louis got us defensively sound, got us holding possession, missed that X factor. And it's no coincidence that the summer Louis goes, we sign Mkhitaryan, Pogba, and Zlatan. With those three, those three players might not have come for Louis, but those three players with Louis, you might have seen United take it to the next gear. Mkhitaryan for like 6 months was fantastic at that, like just running at people and opening closed doors. Jose, that's never really been his game. Porto was very, very offensive and on the front foot. Chelsea sort of steamrolled teams no matter what, but then he never really encountered pure, true low blocks, apart from his own. And he did them because they were effective and they worked. Ollie didn't seem to struggle with it too much when we, again, were more counter-attacking that first 6 months or so. We saw teams that tried to low block us and we just wiped the floor with them. And I can't quite put my finger on what necessarily changed. I think it was the midfield. I think it was the midfield structure was perfect for us, and then that changed. Do I believe he can do it with this squad? I think there's players in this squad that can absolutely do it, without a shadow of a doubt. But there's players in this squad that I think will struggle. And I think the recruitment is going to be key, and I think the promotion of the lads that have been out on loan and current academy players, clean slate lads that haven't got 400 tactical handbooks in their mind from managers all over the show. People that he can just download his philosophy into and really get to grips with it. I think that'll be important.
So I've picked out a couple of players that I think Ten Hag's system might suit and a couple that I think may well struggle. And one of them is maybe not one of your favourite players, but someone like Luke Shaw, who I think this system would suit. I think he's certainly the best passer of the ball we've got in defence. I mean, Tellez maybe is good with his left foot, but he doesn't have that. I don't think he's got the brain or the competence to play those passes quickly in and out all the time. Luke Shaw can drive with the ball pretty well, and I think he does have more potential for that than maybe our other fullbacks. He might still need replacing, but do you think he could do a job in that system?
No.
Why not?
I don't think his defensive awareness is good enough.
Yeah.
And I think he's been exposed massively, like Maguire, the further the team's gone up the pitch. I'll ask you this question. How many times have you seen Luke Shaw defend him with his back to goal?
Very rarely.
Right.
He's running back to his goal line for dear life most of the time, isn't
right. And that's not good.
No.
Even if he's been caught out, he never gets back in time enough to turn around and set. He's very much panic defending at all times. If I said to how many times do you see him facing his own goal as crosses are coming in? Can't defend crosses that way. You have to get in front of it and you have to turn. I have to be able to look at you and look at where the ball's coming from. If I'm running towards my goal, I have no idea where you are, and I might have half an inkling of where the ball's coming in, but knowing the ball coming in is only half of the battle. I need to know where you are. And that's a fundamental flaw with Luke Shaw as a defender. The problem is the bar's on the floor for everybody else. I think Tellez has got a little bit more tenacity about him defensively, but I think that's just a mentality thing. I think his mentality is better defensively. I think his technical defending is not better defensively. No. I don't think his positioning is necessarily better. I think he just tries harder, but he's still poor. I would agree with the driving and I'd agree with the link-ups. I think Luke Shaw's got that in his locker for sure. But I think you need so much more. And I think you're gonna see the importance of fullbacks in Ten Hag system very much like you do in Pep and Klopp system. Yeah. And what we've got at the moment is not fit for purpose.
Well, talking about someone who doesn't suit, Wan-Bissaka is someone who, to me, even in Ole's system that wasn't particularly fullback heavy, the amount of attacks that broke down on that right-hand side because Wan-Bissaka's build-up play is so poor, I don't quite see how he fits into this system with the quick passing, with the sort of vision and the looking up and playing balls in behind first time. I don't see how he can work in that system.
I think he'd be sold this summer.
Yeah. Someone else who I think it could work well for is Varane, and even potentially Harry Maguire, who on the ball is his passing and his build-up play, whether we think he's great or not, if you look at the amount of passes he makes, it's almost always more than anyone else in that back four. And him and Luke Shaw have been a constant sort of triangle and back and forth with whoever's playing on that left-hand side with Harry Maguire.
And I think that's a massive problem, because I think when people look at the stats for that, they go, oh, they pass it loads.
Yeah.
I don't think they look at the speed of those passes, the quality of those passes, the decision-making and intelligence of those passes. I don't see him breaking lines. I see him making easy passes. So what's the point? What is the like? They're just stat padding. It's just like, oh, there we go. Oh, another pass.
But surely the reason he's the ball is being funneled through him, regardless of whether all of his passes or enough of his passes are sort of line breaking. The reason that play is being funneled through him is because the rest of the team either don't want to pass it themselves or trust him to pass it.
No, the reason
why is he having so much of the ball then?
Well, you've just said it yourself. Do you go to Wan-Bissaka on the right?
No.
Right, so if you go to the right side centre half, what's his next pass?
Either back to Maguire or Wan-Bissaka. Or breaking the lines that Maguire apparently isn't doing.
No, none of them are really doing it. Yeah, no, none of them are really capable of doing it. Varane has done it a little bit more often, but I think the rotations and the movement in the midfield just aren't quite there. But yeah, you've literally just answered your own question. Yeah. Why is Maguire the one passing the ball all the time?
Yeah.
Because we can trust Luke Shaw to progress the ball up the pitch better than Wan-Bissaka. Not perfect, certainly better than him.
Yeah.
So why would I go to my right side centre half?
Yeah. Because one of his passes is to the weakest sort of.
So you giving yourself, and also he is without a shadow of a doubt the opposition's pressed man. They wait and set a trap, wait till he goes through and just press it. He's giving it us right back.
Yeah, City did that really well, didn't they?
So they don't go that way. They go to Harry Maguire. So for all of the people like, oh look at he's got so many passes, right? All I'll say to you is stop looking at FB ref. Stop looking at just stats of pass completions and this, that, and the other. Watch him on the ball. When he gets on the ball, how many times are you seeing him know where the ball's going before it comes to him? Not only his fault, the midfield movement's gash, but how many times does he get the ball and he play a pass and you go on? I'll tell you what happens more often. He gets the ball, he looks around, he takes 5, 6, 7 touches, then he passes it and it's likely safe. And sometimes he don't even show for the ball. And that frustrates me. And that that's made De Gea look bad at times this season.
Well, talking about De Gea, see someone I wanted to go on to. He doesn't particularly have the sort of on the ground skill set to necessarily work in this system.
He did, and I don't know where it went.
Yeah. Do you think he can be a success under Ten Hag?
I think he's had a weird season. There's this narrative that goes round about he's a world-class shot stopper. He's the second worst save percentage since March in the league, only behind Mendy, who completely fell off a cliff since March this season. So the back end, the running of the season, it's nearly 50%. It's horrendous. Over the course of the season, it's like 69%. So it was a clear falling off at this stage of the season. But that he does have that ability. He definitely has that ability, and he's definitely saved us plenty of shots and plenty of saves and plenty of goals this season. I think the amount of surgery that United needs, you'll go, not ideal, but we need to fix this first. It's like I got a crack in my front door. Right, it still locks. It's still perfectly secure, but I got no roof, so I'm going to fix my roof before I start bothering with my front door. So I think that's the issue with De Gea. I think once all the rest of the house is fixed, we're getting a new front door. But at the moment, you can put up with the one you've got. And I think that's what you will do. Also, you've got the complication of the fact he's like the highest paid goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah.
Shifting that's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to let United go, just let his contract run out and we'll figure it out. Even if we have to let him go for free, we'll just let him go for free.
Right, let's move on then to sort of Ten Hag as a man a little bit more. I don't know whether I was happy or alarmed by the fact that he's basically started 6 weeks early. I don't know whether that's a testament to how involved and interested in the job he is, or a testament to the size of the job that he's seen at Man United. But we've got a few quotes from him about him starting the work at Man United. From the 16th of May, I'm the manager of Manchester United. A lot has to happen in preparation of the new season, such as implementation of the staff members and the squad for next season. I'll make my mark on both, and I want it to be done extremely carefully. He's saying all the right things there, isn't he? He's saying about how much work there is to be done. He's acknowledging that. He's also basically saying, I'm going to have my eye on every single detail here. Do you think that's a good thing, and do you think he will be given sort of the ability to have that detail.
Yeah, I hope so. I was going to say I don't think you bring him in unless you're going to do that, but we've seen that before, and so I'll err on the side of caution with that. I heard something yesterday when Steve McLaren got to Holland and Ten Hag was the in situ assistant manager. It was like, right, I've prepared the next 12 weeks worth of training in 5-minute blocks for the whole 12 weeks. Here's where I think you would maybe want to coach the team yourself and have like Joe huddles. And in the meantime, me and I can't remember who the other coach was at the time, will take care of like everything else. And McLaren's gone, fucking hell. And he was like, if you don't like it, I can change it. And he's like, no, it's pretty good. And we'll just run with what, oh my God. Like, skip through it like, shit, this is good. Yeah. So, attention to detail, considering that was what Steve McLaren was known for you to blow Steve McLaren's pants off, I think that there must have been some serious attention to detail to that. The fact that he's gone Caribbean, like Carrington, I like that as well.
The same thing.
Yeah. He's gone, no, I've got a big job on hands. Let's go and get that done.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he'd have been criticised for going on holiday either way. Yeah. So I think he's probably preempting that.
Yeah, that's a good idea, PR-wise. So he's got the attention to detail, he's got the work ethic. He also was speaking about the ability to manage these players because the attitude of the players has been something that almost went from being ignored under Ole, and it was all about how weak tactically he was, how naive he was, how he wasn't big enough for the job.
I mean, how wrong was that in hindsight?
Well, of course. And
tactically especially.
If nothing else, Rangnick has exposed that. I think that one of the best things Rangnick has done is given people a bit of the truth on what these players are willing to do in training. But Ten Hag
not a lot by the sounds of things.
Ten Hag has come in and said, I'm capable of looking every player straight in the eyes. I'm 100% certain of that. I make all my choices in good conscience. The team stands above everything else. I choose the players that I believe give us the most chances of winning. Firstly, do you like that attitude? And secondly, is that easy to say until you're stood in front of the press, Cristiano Ronaldo, and whatever else gets thrown at your social media?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, and of course it is. And I think he'll probably be in for a rude awakening and a half. I think that's why Steve McLaren's been appointed, to allow him to focus on the stuff he's good at, which is on the training ground and man management. I'd heard on the grapevine through someone that had played under him that he isn't the most charismatic of people. And if you're that much on your attention to detail, I can see that, to be honest. I can see that you're just like nerdy almost about what you want to see.
All tactics, no vibes.
Yeah, so
that's the problem.
And maybe that's what United need in a certain way. I'm not sure how charismatic Pep is. I think he's a bit strange, to be honest with you. I think Klopp's probably a bit more charismatic. But, you know, I think the attention to detail on the tactical side of what he wants and knowing exactly how he wants to see the team play, that's important. I do think you have to have some level of charisma to coach. You getting your message across, if you're just robotic about it, it's going to be very, very difficult. But I think Steve McLaren coming in, if you listen to what every single professional that had ever played under Steve McLaren, they go, oh, training sessions out of this world. Like, what makes a difference to that then? You know, and I've seen some people complaining about Rangnick's training sessions. I've never been. I'm hoping it's a dream I get to fulfill pretty soon, is going like watching a United training session. Obviously we got to go on pre-season tour, but it's pre-season tour. I don't know what this means. No. You know, and we were in the stand. We were not stood on the side of the pitch. But I'd love to be able to speak to one of the coaches and say, what's the structure of this session? What's the target of this session? You know, because we just
sat and watched.
So they're pressing. Now they're having a bit of a game, but I don't know what the focus was. I don't know if it might have been defensive or it might have been attacking. We had no fucking clue, did we? So I'd love to know. Today we're looking at playing out under pressure, and this is what we're looking for. The end outcome I want to see is, you know, can we be consistently putting balls into the midfield and can they turn? All right, cool. Can we see that then? Let's see it. Like, I think doing those sorts of things would be fine. I think the X factor at Manchester United is, as David Moyes saw. David Moyes was a Premier League manager, got to United and his head fell off. You know, I think even Jose Mourinho was like, I've managed some big clubs, including Real Madrid. It's just different here. And, you know, Louis van Gaal, similar. You know, both been at Bayern Munich, Barcelona. United still different. And I don't think that gets any easier. In fact, I think it's probably getting worse. There's a desperation from the fan base for anyone to just succeed right fucking now. The biggest thing he's going to have is combating and getting patience from the fan base, because when that patience disappears,
do you think he'll get that? Do you think he will get, let's say, at least 1 year of patience? If we finish sixth the next year, do you think he'll?
I have no idea. I couldn't call it, because there's people who still got King Jose Mourinho profile pictures saying everyone's shit. What's Jose up to?
Yeah, he's up to about fourth. So finally, then, do you think he'll be a success at Man United? And also, I want you to give me one player that you think is a bit of a dark horse for. Fucking hell, I didn't think he could be this good.
Of the current squad now.
Of the current squad. I know they're not particularly likeable at the moment.
Fred.
Yeah?
I think Fred will be a great transitional player for him until he gets someone better. And I think work rate covers up a lot of technical deficiencies, and I think Fred at least brings that if he's only allowed in the opposition half. He's too much of a fucking... He's a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
You want him in someone else's china shop, not yours.
Yeah.
I think Fred... I think Marcus has got the opportunity to come back. I think Jimmy Garner. I really think Jimmy Garner could do something for him. Bit of a clean slate. Me and Ronaldo was talking on XG Files, and he said, would you rather him play every game for Forest in the Prem if they get promoted, or like 10 to 15 under Ten Hag at United? And I said I'd rather him play the 10 or 15 because he's getting that contact time with Ten Hag. He's being developed as a Manchester United player. Nottingham Forest might play a whole different system that doesn't prepare him to be a United player. So I'd rather him be prepared in what Ten Hag wants him to be and get that trust. I think, one of them. I think Marcus can change the current opinion of himself. I think Jimmy Garner can continue his ascension. And I think Fred could end up being a bit of a dark horse for him as well. I think one of those three will be the ones that surprise us. I don't think there's going to be much surprises anywhere else in the squad. If De Gea starts taking people on in the box,
that would be a surprise.
If he leaves his box at any point apart from half time, I will be amazed. It'd be really interesting to see how all that goes off. I think he's had some problems with who's being goalkeeper coaches as well. It's been just a turnover of goalkeeper coaches that's been a madness in the last few years. From Franz Hoek to that fucking guy that was having himself. Remember him? Yeah. Is it Emiliano or whatever he was called?
Yeah, I can't remember, but he was
tanned. Definitely got roof mirrors shirtless in his bedroom.
Yeah, and Eric Steele as well, obviously.
Yeah. So I think finding someone he can work with, which I believe is Lee Grant, but is that a good idea? Do you need someone further away from him? Maybe, I don't know. But there's bits to fix with him. Do I think he can be a success? Yeah, I do think he can be a success, but thinking it and seeing it are miles apart, and he has to be backed in the transfer window. There has to be buy-in from players. There's so many intangibles that are going to make this a success and not a success. You don't play on your own. Can he make United better? Yeah, but can he make United better than everyone else is going to improve? Don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. Right, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you at home as well. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How can Ten Hag make Manchester United a success again? Let us know below, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you in a bit.